I can be pretty opinionated. I can be pretty rough sometimes. It's almost like, don't ask me what I think if you really don't want to know, you know, that kind of thing. But I also have a lot of compassion, and I like that. And I think that the gifts that I have, writing and poetry and musicals and things like that, they're not mine. They're gifts from God. I've been involved with education for a long time, like a lot of parents, particularly with the old PTA and that kind of thing. Education for our children has not been equal, for whatever reasons. I don't know. But I also know that it's not the part of any larger community. It's also not the fault of any larger community. It's also our fault. Because when you want something, you have to stand up and say, this is what I want for my child. There are times when you have to stand up for what you believe in. And we knew that schools in Newcastle County were not segregated by law. Housing was. We tried to get the adults to say, let's open housing, and then by natural attrition, wherever you are living, that's the school that you will attend. Okay. We also knew that once schools were desegregated, forced busing and that kind of thing, regardless of what you think, it divides your community. And desegregation was very successful in dividing our Black community. The way that I see it, every day is an opportunity to mentor. But mentoring is something that anybody can do, and that's the truth. Because whatever experiences you've had that are positive and might help somebody else to not make that same mistake, just tell them. I think that you can use theater for two things. You can use theater to bring people together in a sense of community, but you can use theater to teach. Now, like this month, Black History Month, okay, we're using it to teach. Black history is America's history. And that's one of the reasons that I have a passion for working with Delaware Historical Society, because I think, according to their mission, they are to preserve and archive the history of people of the state of Delaware. There had never been an original musical at the DuPont Playhouse by a Delawarean. I didn't know that. So we did it, and oh man, that was the most fun. We did, you heard that movie called The Help? Yes. Okay. In the 60s, I wrote, was it 60s or 70s? Can't remember. I wrote a play called Moti Miss Ann, and it was done very successfully at the DuPont Playhouse. That's the same program. That's the same thing. Moti Miss Ann was the interdependent relationship between Black domestics and white affluency. And we did it in song and dance to make it palatable, but you still got your message across. When I saw that Help, and I read that book, I have it upstairs, and I said, oh my goodness. I guess people in my generation just work to get people where they are. And when it comes time for all the celebration and blowing and whistles and all that kind, we don't need that. I know I don't. But the one thing, I have a great memory with President Barack Obama and Joe, because Joe Biden, that's my buddy. When we were down at the train station, when they were going through, when he was first elected, and we had some sort of little reception or whatever, I can't remember what it was. And Margaret Henry and all of us were standing on that front row. Well, I thought I was just fine, but it was overwhelming when we saw the two of them, because I know Joe Biden. And he came down the steps first, and then President Barack Obama went around the other way, and then he got right there, and I just melted. It isn't so much about a Black man being elected to the presidency. It was, to me, a renewal of faith in people, that you really understood that Black people are intellectual, and we can walk and chew gum at the same time, and we can do all these things.